My name is Gabriele Kushi and my business is called kushiskitchen.com, and I am German and I live in America for about 40 years. I went to America to study at the Kushi Institute and have been graduating there level 1, 2, 3 and also 4, and also have been graduating with the Macrobiotic Educators Association. And I have been working with macrobiotics for about more or less 35 years. I started very young in Germany and I just loved the philosophy, I loved the food, and I have been practicing it ever since. I am working as a personal chef, as a cooking teacher, as a health coach and a consultant. I also recently worked and finished my yoga teacher training and yoga therapy training. So I'm working with a variety of tools to help my client to find their way in balancing their life and also their food. When I started, I was 70 and in the 71. I was reading and studying with Giorgio Savor, and he has a very Japanese approach, very strong Japanese Zen philosophy, and I really enjoyed that. And I studied with him. It was a very complicated system for me because I'm German and I'm thinking different, but because he was working with the yin and the yang in a different way than the traditional Chinese medicine, he adjusted it more to European minds and thinking, and I understood it very well. It was for me a learning curve at that point because I was very new. Now, 2018, when we are doing this interview, everybody knows about traditional medicine, Chinese, Ayurveda, yoga, macrobiotic, vegan, paleo. There is so many different varieties out there. So it's good, but at the same time, you have too much to choose from. And so you go, what am I doing? What is the right thing? You know, what is the next big thing I should do? Or young people doing vegan maybe, and some other people do paleo. So the meat eaters, the vegan, the fruitarians, the raw, they're all there, and it's just really, it's exciting. And I work with a wide variety of clients from different traditional cultures to different age groups, you know, and also some come with difficulties and some just want a plain change, or they have been eating one diet which have been very in, so to say, and they run into problems and they want to know what they can do. Or they are meat eaters and they want to reduce their meat intake. They want to go more vegan, vegetarian, and so a lot of them don't really get a lot of information. So that's why for me, and my happiness is because with macrobiotics, when I studied it, I found there is a lot of information how you can adjust and adapt what you need to do and want to do. If you want to be just vegan or vegetarian, if you want to just eat with fish, pescatarian, or if you want to also be a meat eater, you know. So there is a wide variety of possibility to work with the concept of the basic macrobiotic understanding of the principle of the universe, you know, the expanding and the contracting energies of the nature of the universe, of the nature of who we are, we live in nature, and also the different varieties of food, how they affect us. So that is basically one of the studies in macrobiotics, which helps people from different lifestyles, from different traditions and ages, can understand what they need for themselves. In that way, it is universally a nice way of working, you know. And when how everything started when I was there. It was very mostly traditional understanding of the Oriental, Asian, Japanese ways, because our teachers who brought this to us, to the West, have been Japanese. So that was the focus more of the food which they knew from their traditions. And we loved it because we didn't have that information about the fermentation of the food. Some of us in Europe, we do fermentation, but it's all a different understanding. And so we have been very happy with that. And by studying and being in Europe or America, more like the Western understanding, or other tradition, we brought more things in. I work a lot with Native American cultures, so this information came in, or like what kind of grains did the cultures eat. So it expanded naturally, so and the herbs came in more, and it just was like a natural development. So I always embraced it. For me, it was great, because I love traveling. I love different cultures, different ways of understanding and seeing things, And one of the ways we look into macrobiotic is that we are trying to be more traditional foods, from the cultures we come from, and not so much the modern way of refining and not having anymore the whole foods made from scratch. So that's one of the ways we look in macrobiotics at food, and how we are working with the environment to save the environment, to make it a nice place to live in. So there are many aspects of macrobiotics, not just food, but also environment, inheritance, the seasonal ways of working. It's a little bit of a study sometimes, because we are not really raised with that idea so much anymore, but there is a lot of information out there. And if you really want to study, there are schools, there are teachers, so it's a fun way to learn. It used to be a lot of cancer. For some reason, the people who were teaching decided to go with cancer. They could have gone with heart disease. It would have been probably a little bit of an easier ride, because, but it did shows that, and they had some success with it, and some people who were furthering it because they were like famous doctors who really worked with cancer and macrobiotics and healed themselves. So that gave it a lot of impetus to people to know it, And it's a mixed bag, because it's difficult when you work with healing, when you work with traditional foods, with traditional people, with ancestors, with where the society is at the time, and what science information was available at that point. And that's like 30 years, 40 years ago when we started that. And now is a totally different scientific information is there, what else is important. And so the development of macrobiotics is including nowadays the scientific information, which have not been available 50, 40 years ago. We didn't know a lot of things, So we are including those informations now in our teachings, in our education. And there is still the information that for macrobiotic as a healing modality. I myself have been working with a lot of cancer patients, a lot of close to death. It's a very as a practitioner, it's a very difficult way to work. At some point, I decided to get more away from the healing part, although I still do healing with foods, but it's more like a variety, and people like the word healing. And my teachings is, for my development is more like you work with the healing of your body. You do the right things so your body can work the own healing, which is food, which is environment, which is thought, which is a lot of things, what healing actually means. And there are more and more studies out there how the human body works, the genome, the genes, there's so much there we did not know before. And I think it is exciting, and I like to look at disease and the problems we have from a different point of view. And in that way, so I am attracting people who want to work with the approach I'm giving. So I decided not to work so much with disease, but with the development, evolution of the human capacity, of human being, the world. So that's just my interest right now. Yeah.